What's up, YouTube? And welcome back. It's about that time again. Now we tune in to Reality Talk News. Now we on day 2 about Keefe D. Now on Tuesday, which is today, was the day of the 2 of the trial of Keefe D. Davis, accused of orchestrating the murder of a rapper Tupac Shakur in Las Vegas in 1996. Now, amongst the witnesses who testified were James McDonald, known as Mom James, and Reggie White Jr., which is the head of the security for Death Row Records. So they had took the witness stand today and say they part of their story. They supposed to say. So on Monday, both sides laid out the case. Prosecutors said Davis' own statement of proof of their accusations, while the defense argued that none of those statements were verified or made as part of the investigation. So after open statements, one woman who has said that she heard the gunshots spoken from the stand, followed by several former officers from both the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and LAPD, who spoke about the investigation. So it had two different people from LAPD and Las Vegas PD. Now, let me ask you a question. What really happened up there? I'm gonna ask another question. Did Keefe D was on the MGM Grand alone? I'm sorry. Did Baby Lang was at the MGM Grand alone? Because I know him and his baby mama came out there. I know that for a fact. So before the trial, Channel 8 News had investigator Vanessa Murphy and multiple jailhouse interviews from Davis since his arrest, including which is Davis said he wasn't even in Vegas that night Tupac was shot. Now I'm going to tell you this. Now, he claiming that he wasn't in Vegas. I know damn well he was in Vegas that night. That's 100% possible. They was all up there. They rent the car from Vegas. Let's go find DeAndre Smith's auntie. Put her on the witness stand, and you tell and ask her about the rental car that she's supposed to pay for them to get to drive around in Las Vegas. Hit the like button. Let's go get, or is she still living? That's the question. Because it's been 30 years ago. So the only evidence you can't ever get is the people was also there and also witnessed the whole thing. And because everybody else dead. Everybody else deceased. You think about that. And which is the statement contradicts, prevents comment from Davis, in which he has said he was sitting in the front passenger seat of the car, which is pulled up side to side with Shakur before September 1996 shooting near the Las Vegas Street. Marion Suge Knight, the then head of Death Row Records, has driven the car with Shakur sitting on the passenger seat. Davis says he granted interviews and admitted to an involvement in the murder in the book that made money. So he was making money off the book. The book Keefe D had made, he made money off the book. But also the book is another evidence of linking on to this case. But I'm going to ask you this. Do you think Keefe D going to plead guilty? I know a lot of people is going to say he's guilty. Most 100% fact. If he is guilty, how much time he gonna get? And I did say that he ain't gonna face life. I said that already. But if it's not life, it's gonna be around 60 to 70 years in prison with eligibility parole. If that's necessary, because remember, when they seen the video, when the video came in there, when they went in there and jumped on Orlando Anderson, in the MGM Grand that night after the Mike Tyson Bruce Seldon fight, someone had called Keefe D and said they was jumping on your nephew. So what they did is they went out there and retaliate. So I don't think that's not self-defense or nothing like that. It was like retaliate. That was spite or revenge. Everybody know what that is. Everybody know if you go out there and retaliate, because remember, the casino, the security at the casino asked Baby Lane, "Do you want to go to the hospital?" He said no. "Do you want to require a paramedic?" He said no. Because to me, he looked like he been fine, but same time, everybody was jumping on him. Everybody was jumping on him. He must have balled up when they was jumping on him when he was on the ground. Hit the like button. So I know one thing. That the Fox 8, not Fox 8, 8 News now investigator Vanessa Murray will be in court for the whole trial, with investigator Kyle Payne and actress Sasha Loftus hosting the live stream from the trial on the Channel 8 News streaming app. You can read that below. So the video from our 5 p.m. reporter here, James McDonald, as Mob James said, "Treat me as a hostile witness." He made eye contact with Durant Keefe D. Davis certain times, and Davis' lawyer asked him questions, saying the lawyers was asking him questions that would lead to trouble for Davis. Was hours encouraged in tourists with Tupac got shot? No. Now, Gray Hass was asking him. Day 2. Testimony for James McDonald, known as Mob James. So he was asking them questions. Now, Vanessa Murray stated that, right, they had 8 to 10 cell phones, used walkie-talkies too. Wright testified the grand jury he had his death row pending, but Suffolk has tried to show the statement is inconsistent. Sapp as right about criminal record. He's a felon, a federal juror case, and he was a cop. Now remember, let me ask you this. Do you remember that Reggie White told his security they cannot carry no gun? Michael Moore, rest in peace, refused to put up his gun. So they end up sending him to the Club 662, because by him being refused, because so they said something ain't right. So I don't know, the FBI told him that to tell his security to put their guns away. They can, and top of that, they had to surrender their walkie-talkies. How about them apples? Hit the like button. Why do you make your team put up their walkie-talkies? That's the question they should have asked. Why did? Because when you out there, it's protected. It's protected because you got people out there is trying to get you. Now I don't know about that one, but when you finish, when all of them beat up Baby Lane, see, they don't know Baby Lane's history. They don't know Baby Lane's history. See, Baby Lane dropped about 9 bodies. Hit the like button. So he said points how big a celebrity Tupac Shakur was, how Wright only had one security person with him, which is Frank Alexander. I would have an army around him if I knew something like is going to happen. Wright said he trusted my Pyru guys more than the cops. Let me tell you this. All the security was scared of Pac. Because every time Pac trying to wander off from the security. But the only person can handle Tupac is Frank. God rest his soul. Frank was he was a laid back person, and I like his style, because he the type of person, he will calm him down. When Tupac loses damn mind, you hit the like button. So he the only one could handle Pac, because he know exactly what he know exactly what he doing. With the rest of security, don't know what they was doing. Now, cross-examination with the defense attorney, Michael Samp Wright, says his focus was Suge Knight and Titus Tupac Shakur took a taxi to a Mike Tyson fight because Suge Knight was late. Said Suge was always late, says Tupac was impatient with Knight and upset he was late. So now Suge Knight was late all the time. Why? This is why Suge Knight refused to take the stand, even though he's locked up. They was gonna go get him out of prison and take him to court and take him to the stand, but he refused. Because Tupac had an argument with Suge Knight because he was always late. He had to take a taxi to the fight. Hit the like button. I don't understand this one. Do you understand that one? No, I don't. Because should always be with Pac all the time, but some type of way he was always late, and he got upset about that. The first time he was late, he let it slide for a minute. Then the second time he coming on time. Why you keep coming there late for? Is something that's going on, and people think that should set Pac up. You have to understand that one too. Now, Vanessa Murphy stated after that Wright identified people in the MGM Grant fight and appears to be Mr. Shakur. That's Mr. Knight. And then she also said that he had the security outside the hospital room. Tupac Shakur, when he was falling from his fights for his life, stayed in Vegas for 1 week after Tupac passed and received his ashes and delivered them. Prosecutors said that, did you have anything to do with the murder of Tupac? Right? Absolutely not. Now, Vanessa Murray called Miles James to the stand, like his brother Buntry. I know him for 50 years. He said he like a brother. I know Reggie White for 50 years. Recall when he said he learned that Tupac Shakur was shot. He said he was at Club 662 at the time, said he headed to UMC. People started gathering there, went back to the house of Suge Knight to get him some security. And Vanessa asked him another question. He said he received advice from an attorney with no weapons to carry firearms the night of Tupac's murder. Remember, woman takes it. Do you remember that he told them they cannot carry no gun? That's red flag number one. Somebody said something about, told Reggie White they cannot carry no gun. If they'd had guns, they'd have shot back. If they didn't protect Tupac long enough, they should have put Tupac in another vehicle and rolled up the windows. He'd have been safe. Hit the like button. Because when they ride through, they're going to ride, see some regular people. They ain't going to see Tupac nowhere. Because you just got to do kicking the nigga's ass, and that nigga's a killer. It's for number one. And they never told him that he bust them guns. Hit the like button. Now, Vanessa Murray asked him a question, and Mob James responded. 662 spell mob. When you dial the phone, meaning a member of a blood member, Club 662. Now, Vanessa Murray also asked the question, disgusting. Vanessa Murray also asked him a question, and Mob James responds is discussing the Soul Train Music Awards in '96 and had to encourage about 50 people. Wright said he pulled out a firearm. Davis shook his head when Wright said he was there. He mean Tupac? And disgusted hit him up. Wright agreed that he aggressively expressed feelings towards Bad Boy Rex. He asked security. Now you remember when he hit him up, and he said, and Frank said, "You gonna need more security." So he told him to ask Suge, "Can we have some more security?" Because, but let me ask you a question. It ain't about the Hit 'Em Up album, the song Hit 'Em Up. It ain't about the Hit 'Em Up song. It's about you beating this boy up. He was embarrassed in front of a gang of people. He was embarrassed. He felt it bad when all of them jumped on this boy. It ain't about the Hit 'Em Up song. Because, and when all this was happening, they went, it all came all the way to LA, and that's what the war started in Compton. Soon it came back the very next day. So Vanessa Murray asked Reggie White now. Witness Reggie White Jr., father of the Compton PD lieutenant. He was a police officer, also a retired in 1996, said he was in a wheelchair as a result of COVID. Was heading to the security of Death Row Records, heard of Keefe D. At one point, he was known as a crackhead and a drug dealer. The jury questioned, did Reggie White Jr. instruct security not to have firearms, which is guns? Says he did have guns that night. Remember that he told them to put away, they cannot carry no gun? They asked him that. Did Reggie White told them they can carry a gun? They cannot carry a gun. So they have to put their guns away. They can't even carry no gun or walkie-talkie. So how the hell is something out there happen? Then we dead ducks around here. I would not put my gun up, and Michael Moore refused to put his gun away. I would refuse to. I said, what the hell we gonna put our guns away for, and we in danger? Come on now. It's all, I don't know if it's a setup, and they asked Reggie White, is you got something to do with Tupac being dead? You never know. Everybody pointing fingers at each other behind some bullshit that happened and went down. I don't think Reggie ain't got nothing to do with that. Reggie ain't got nothing to do with that or nothing like that. So I don't think it ain't him. It's that boy they beat up in that MGM Grand. And that's the way I'm just gonna put it on the table. Because he was embarrassed. All them people was beating them up. Tupac didn't even know Baby Lane. For number one, he died over loyalty. Hit the like button. He died over loyalty. Loyalty. Do you understand what loyalty is? When people go out there and try to put yourself on the front line, and then you end up trying to prove these LA niggas that I got the biggest nutsack. I'm the man. And look what happened. Look what happened now. He ain't with us anymore. Hit the like button. So the only way I could say this, a lot of stuff, certain stuff you cannot go out there and do. You can't, it's certain niggas you cannot go out there and beat up because it can come back. They can find you real quick and bust. And it happens a lot. That's why when you go out there, put in your work and all that, then it's not saying you gotta protect yourself. You need security to be on your side. You have to wear that bulletproof vest now. You gotta be vested up now. I don't give a damn what temperature it is out there in Vegas. This is your life we talking about. This is your life on the line. And all these situations had made all these situations had made some type of point here. Everybody writes books. Everybody get on them interviews to make a story. It also said in the witness stand, said you had to retaliate if someone disrespect you living that life. I put myself in a situation protecting someone and somebody did it for a payback. I'm older now and I get it. Now, and it also says in the witness stand, a lot of things happen at night. Me, anyone else bring up the dead is wrong. A lot of people got hurt by the situation in and of itself. Said he's 61, bringing back people like him. You better treat me like a hostile witness. This is after the question about Orlando. And then also learning that night Tupac got shot, Suge came back with the bandage on his head after the shooting. He said Reggie White Jr. had nothing to do with Tupac Shakur's murder. The weight is on his nephew, Baby Lane, Zip, that had the guns already in he already had the guns out in Las Vegas. He flew to New York to Vegas. He did all this before he had that cancer. And they was already strapped when they was out there. They knew Tupac was out there already, so they knew for a minute that it is all started from a death row chain. That Puff Daddy supposed to order the death row chain being snatched out of Trayvon Lane's neck. Hit the like button. So September 7th, 1996, when in Vegas, his job was to make sure nothing funny happened at the Club 662. They were fall guys, concentrated by people like Crips coming to cause issues. Reggie White Jr.'s job that night is to make sure he didn't get in trouble. This is everybody's job. Now, the points of the situation between record companies, not gangs, says some people got mixed up in it that almost have anything to do with a paycheck, especially if they had forgotten out of prison. Death Row Records versus Bad Boy Records on the sides have a lot of intention. But I'm going to tell you one thing. We're going to talk about that in the next video. Now, the role of the Death Row Records, if something happened, would have to be taken care of that, should rely on him to protect his rota of music artists. Anytime you have to deal with the gang life, there's going to be violence at any given time. And also witness stated that James McDonald also said, known as Mob James, head of security, Club 662 prosecutor, made it clear he did not come to testify voluntarily. Then also the police immediately put cones on them, suggest weapons with 40 Glocks on radio, potential suspects, vehicle that looked called intentionally code red at 11:17 p.m. Possible white, a light color Cadillac with two opponents. Update at 12:45 a.m. A white Cadillac, good condition with 4 males. Now, let me say this to you. Let me say this. None of them guys that had no weapons that night. Now I'm gonna tell you that they had no weapons that night. The weapons they had that wasn't what that Reggie White Jr. told them they had to get their weapons up. And that's what they did. And that's exactly what they did. It says picture of the cones as exhibited 129 has it on a label package on a cartridge case, checking for fingerprints, negative results. He opened an envelope, appears to be 7 flattened cartridge cases. Certain of the damage mishappened that was absolutely in the closet, in the closest I haven't seen. So the police had able to determine what certain cartridge case came to do to the street, place the cones on top of the cartridge case to protect them. One sure, maybe more, are already ran over by traffic. Pop flares on the number 3 travel lane where the cartridge cases were located. And also, September 7th, 1996, he was out with gang members, heard about shots fired and a code red on radio. Code red means no other radio traffic. Keep radio traffic in minimal, waiting to updates from initial officers. Scared thing, you do not break the code red, responded to Covart and Flamingo. Now, Dean O'Kelly, deputy marshal in the district court with judge here, was the Las Vegas Metro police officer, stated that when September 1991, retired July 2012, and almost 8.5 years investigated cold case homicides, 1996, worked in the gang unit of Metro enforcement team. Let me ask you this. Those people knew exactly what they was doing. They was setting some stuff up that they knew everybody was questioning the court. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna see how day 3 looking like. We're gonna see what day 3 is. So thank you for watching Reality Talk News.